We'll talk a little bit more about collecting AK ammunition, this time specifically the Russian AK ammunition. And this is pretty much my entire collection of just the Russian stuff. I thought we would take a closer look and create some information for collectors to discuss and encourage anyone who's thinking about collecting to do so. So starting off, you can see I've got these foam 40 caliber ammo trays. They work out well for photographing them, and then I usually consolidate them into fewer ones when I actually put it away on the shelf in the closet. But what we're looking at here are the various factories. So we've got Factory 3, the Uli factory, Factory 7, the Vempel, Factory 17, the Barnaul, Factory 60, Factory 270, Factory 539 or Tula, and Factory 711 or Klimavisk or something. Anyway, that's the different factories, and they've each got their own factory number, of course, and then they've got their own head stamps. So let's take a look, starting with Factory 3, Uli, and this is the most current Uli stuff that's coming over. I think I bought this at J&G sales, and they was this in a tin? It might have been in that tin, and if it wasn't, it was in a cardboard box by itself, but I'm pretty sure it was in that tin in a cardboard box. And that's what it looks like. This is what its current head stamp looks like, and it's the Uli circle with arrows on the bottom and 762x39 written on the top. I guess we'll talk about a little bit about ammunition history as well in this one. And when we see anything that's written 762x39, that's a dead giveaway that it's made for import as hunting ammo or recreational ammo. So I guess we've got this one here. Let's start there. We've got another one, 762x39 with the Uli logo. It was made a little bit earlier, and I forget how long ago I've got these, but they're not around anymore. They upgraded their look, I guess, and now they're selling them as their logo, so I'm guessing they're just calling it Uli-esque, the Ulianovisk cartridge works. So that's just their new name brand, I guess. And this is an older one that was some Full Metal Jacket. This is Hollow Point. But let's look at the older stuff. So I've got stuff going back to actually one of my earliest bullets. This here is a 1951, and it's from Factory 3, or the Uli factory. 1951, my earliest bullet. The only other one I have close, one from Factory 270, which is also 1951. So that's one of the reasons I like the Uli factory. But I also have 1951, 1952, but then I have all 5 of the letter codes, the upside down backwards L, A, E, N, K. So what's neat about that is this 1952 and the backwards upside down L are both 1952. So I have marked with the regular number and then with their crazy code. Then after K, I do have a 1956 also. Then I've got kind of an interesting part of the collection too, is this one, which has the factory number still and the date. You can see it there, 93. So that's interesting. So you can also tell that it's a corrosive primer because of the color. Let's look at a more recent one from the same factory, and you can see the color of the primer there is the modern kind of brass looking color, and again the Barnaul and the 762x39. So the more recent imported type head stamp on that one, where this one from probably just a few years earlier, 93, is a probably military brass that was meant for use. And then the bullet was pulled. The old M43 bullets came off with the steel core because those can't be imported. And the new M67 style, and in this case a hollow point. Just can't see it real well. There's a piece of fuzz in there, but that's just a hollow point bullet, probably 124 grain, was put into a military case with a corrosive primer. And then what's also kind of interesting is I have 2 of these from 93, and you can see both of them I found at the range. Both of them have had their primers hit, so that's interesting. And what's also interesting is if you go down this bunch of newer ones I had that were probably out of one of these boxes, they also had a primer fall out, so makes me wonder if Factory 3 has some problem with their primer machine, but really that's just speculation considering I'm only looking at a tiny little drop in the giant ocean of ammo they've produced over the years. So again, 1951, my newest one is 1993, so just in this tray alone I can represent like 50 years of AK ammo manufacture. Pretty cool. You can also kind of see how the boxes went from crude to a little more elaborate. Next up is Factory 7, the Vempel, and their logo is that little bee looking shape, and I can't tell you much about it. I've got these two pieces of ammo that I think I just found at a range one time, and they're just a full metal jacket and made for import with the their logo and 7.62x39, and then this is one of the bullets that's out of that box, and really no difference except that it's got a lead tip bullet on it, so made for hunting, I guess. So can't say much about Factory 7 except that I don't have a lot of samples from them. Next up is Factory 17, on a pretty big one, the Barnaul. I don't have the full run of these. I have a 52, and then an A, the E, and a K, and then a 1958 and a 1960. For my older stuff, and I have a couple of empty brass there. But I've got a little interesting sample here of the newer stuff, and they're all marked basically the same for import, just 7.62x39. They do theirs with a comma, and the 7.62x39 is at the bottom, and then their Barnaul logo is at the top. But you can see I have the zinc case, the lacquer steel, and then the copper or the bimetal washed. So a couple of different samples of case types there. And I think they're all marked the same way for import, 7.62x39 with the Barnaul logo. And then it's kind of interesting. This one is made by MFS, but it's definitely the modern Barnaul logo there. See, it says MFS, and then that little 6N backwards 3 looking thing is their new logo. And then again, 7.62x39 at the bottom. Now we look at a brown bear, and brown bears are kind of random. So they could be made by multiple factories. This one happens to be Barnaul. And again, we can see their newer modern logo there at the top, and then 7.62x39 down there at the bottom. And again, a lacquered, really heavily lacquered steel case. This one was the zinc plated. Another zinc plated one. This one's marked Precision Ammunition, but if we look at it, the head stamp is that MFS with the modern logo and 7.62x39. So it's just interesting to see that there's companies out there that are maybe trying different marketing or what. That's just an empty box. Anyway, kind of interesting look on it there, and again, some of the different cartridge types. I guess if we put them all together, I think I have most of them here. We can get the this is a zinc copper wash over steel, and we've got just the plain copper wash over steel, and we've got the steel with a lacquer finish. Somewhere we should have steel with just plain steel with the polymer finish. Then we've got the zinc plated steel. So a couple of different samples of case type right there. So next up we have Factory 270, and again, one of my earliest rounds, 1951. Notice the triangles on the 270 compared to the stars on the Yuli, or the number 3. 1951, another 1952, and then the upside down backwards L, which is letter designation for 1952. 53, the letter A, 54, letter E, 55, letter N, 56, letter K, and then we've got a 57, a 58, and a 59. Kind of cool. And then this one is, not sure what it is, but I put it in here because the 270s don't get a lot of love, even though I've got a kind of a full set of the early ones there. I don't know much about the factory, But again, this one, I'm not sure what to make out of it. It's definitely marked for import, or I'm assuming it's marked for import with the 7.62 by 39 there. Then it's marked with the T upside down U number 3, so I'm not sure what that means. So I just put that here with the 270s. Next up, we have factory number 539, probably my favorite factory, Tula, the Wolf ammo, and pretty prolific. Tula, of course, makes bayonets, magazines, all kinds of cool stuff. So, pretty prolific arms factory over there. With my early stuff, I have a couple of the letter codes. I've got a bunch of different years, and then there's just so many different head stamps with Tula that it's hard to really get all of it. I'm sure I'll never be able to catch all of the different variations of Tula. We have another one. You can see very similar case markings there, but you can see already comes with non-corrosive primer. It says 7.62 by 39, so probably made for import. But then notice that TCW, Tula Cartridge Works. And that's interesting because it's with the 7.62 by 39 written on top there. The TCW is also written on top, so this is sort of a different nomenclature, whatever you'd call that. Anyway, this is some lead core bullets made 100% for import. Again, going off the primer and the fact that it's a 7.62 by 39, but it's also marked TCW. Let's take a look at that package, right? TCW ammunition. And again, we can kind of see the evolution here because those two look about the same as far as the boxes go. Very similar. But now let's take a look at the head stamp on this one. And it already says Wolf. And again, it says Wolf on top, but then 7.62 by 39 is also on top. So again, that's just a manufacturing thing that we can watch, a trend that we can watch. So we went from factory marks to almost a similar box, and just a little bit kind of an evolution in the box there. They added it so it's a little bit easier to read. And then we went from TCW marked head stamp to Wolf, and then eventually we get to, I don't have it, these are all just empty boxes, but eventually you get to something like this one that was marked 7.62 by 39 and Wolf, but notice 7.62 by 39 is on top and Wolf is on the bottom. It's not like those others where you spin it and Wolf is also on top. So again, just manufacturing differences. Non-corrosive primer, and this is the Wolf we all know and love. So this stuff came out, and then at some point they decided that wasn't good enough either, and then they went over back to Tula again, and now we've got 7.62 by 39. We've got Tula ammo where they share the letter A, and then we got our cool Tula star. I think that's a Tula star. This is actually easier to see through the camera than it is in real life. It's actually the little Tula logo, I think, this TN thing. So they've gone from, being factory number 539 and being proud of that and sending out their ammo. Oh, I should notice that the factory on the old stuff, just put factory 539, notice the stars, and if you get a Tula bayonet, you'll see that it's got the star as well. So they went from their factory 539 with the stars to TCW to Wolf, now to Tula ammo, and a new logo. So definitely a lot of stuff going on there. You can kind of see the development of the boxes as well. There's better pictures of that on the internet. Now I've got something else that's kind of interesting here as far as the Tula factory goes, and that is with these couple of rounds here. You'll notice this one has kind of a bunch of crazy writing on it, but it's got those two stars, and those two stars make me think about these old Tula ones that have the two stars, and that makes me wonder if Tula wasn't building ammo for maybe some other countries out there. And here's another one that's got that similar scribble writing on there, but those two stars. So it's possible that those are from a different factory that just happens to push the stars on their head stamps too. And then the one thing that screws with me, of course, is that back here, this 1951 Factory 3 also had stars on it. But if you go through all the others, nobody else had stars except for 539 or Tula. Okay, so that's Tula. Last up is 711, or the Klimavisk, this one. And don't have a lot of info on these either. My oldest one is just a case from 1963. I have some what look to be probably non-corrosive imports from '93, but they do have the factory numbers on them. I also find lots of this stuff which has the Klimas logo in 7.62 by 39 written on it. That one is dated 00. And then I have this one that's dated 01, again for import with the non-corrosive primer. So definitely a mix of ones from the 7-Eleven. They definitely made some for import, but not a heck of a lot. And for the most part, that's the only boxes I've seen. But again, there's a lot to learn about collecting AK-47 stuff. There's been so much of it out there. Of course, we only get to see a little slice of it here in the U.S. But obviously, most of my early stuff is from a collector that was selling his collection, or parts of his collection that I bought. So that is of it. You are able to get some really cool early stuff, like this 1951. You're able to get some pretty rare stuff. But a lot of this stuff I found were just gathered along the way at various gun shops. So there's another pile of information about collecting AK ammunition. And again, if you're a collector and you'd like to trade, feel free to inquire. If you see something that I'm missing, I'm definitely interested. If you're new to collecting, you're thinking about it, I highly encourage you to. It's a lot of fun. And hopefully this again has been entertaining and a little bit informative. As always, thanks for watching.